Don is brought to you by United Tire. Now's the time to make the right choice about who services your car. United Tire and Service. Go to UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Well, we got to bring 5 on. Hold on. Coming up, we call him the greatest quarterback in franchise history. Most handsome quarterback in franchise history.
Strongest arm.
You know what I mean? I call him my QB. That's my QB.
Yes.
Big 5. Donovan McNabb joins us.
Never
here.
lost to the Giants.
Will you shut up, please? What's up, 5?
What's going on, fellas?
We got all type of technical difficulties going on back here.
Y'all sound disoriented over there, but I'm here, baby. I got you.
We hear you loud and clear, brother. Somehow Spike's mic is not working.
What's happening?
His mic's not working. That may be by design, too. Who knows?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, listen, brother, coming off a tough game against the Giants, man. That's 2 straight losses. Now, Thursday night loss, I don't even know if they showed up in this game, quite frankly. The defense giving up 34 points. The offense, again, playing only one half of football, not scoring in the second half. Just your thoughts on Thursday's night game versus the Giants.
Well, we can start with the defense first. Obviously, losing Jalen Carter and then losing your number 1 corner and then still trying to figure out who your number 2 corner is going to be. It's a revolving door at this particular point. And then, obviously, when you can't stop the run, you can't stop the run either from the called run games or possibly the quarterback getting outside the pocket, which we know Jackson Dart was going to do. And it works in the favor of the Giants. And moving to the offense, I mean, when you have no identity, you're not running the football, you come out in the beginning of the game and try to establish the run, but there's no play action off of it. We just get right back to the drop back game. And really, when you're out of rhythm in your passing game, then you got to go to these screen games. You got to go to the quick game. And that's what we've seen a little bit with Dallas Goedert catching a lot of the flat routes or stick routes and not establishing the intermediate to deep passing game. And then when we tried to do that, we were just so out of sync that nothing on offense seemed to work when it came to the timing of it all. And so we can look at, obviously, the coordinator's taking some heat right now, but it really is about the players, to be honest with you. It starts with the players and ends with the players. We're not getting what we need up front. And then when we do decide to now drop back and throw the ball, we're not creating separation outside. And then our quarterback's out of rhythm, just like our run game is out of rhythm. So right now, everything is a collection of what happened from the very beginning of the season, and now we're starting to fall on the other side instead of us trying to find ways to win at the end. Now we're losing the game.
Donovan, let me ask you this. It was we started seeing some of this from, guys that analyze tape and post things on. Emmanuel Acho said something about it. And then Lane Johnson, even after the game, said the same thing. Talked about predictability.
Being predictable?
The predictability thing. So what do you – there was some disagreement, I guess, from among players. Saquon said after the game, everybody knew what we were doing last year and nobody could stop it. So from your perspective from your perspective, how much of that feeds into the troubles they're having on offense is the predictability angle?
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, yes, we were very effective running the football. There were a lot of times where Saquon was making cuts to go backside of the called run. And that was just great eyes on his part by being able to find a hole and be able to explode through the hole. That's what an elite running back's supposed to do. From a called side run, and you look backside if the nose or a linebacker oversteps into another gap, then you cut backside. We were dynamic with that. But a lot of our passing flaws were something that happened during the regular season last year. And so I look at it in a sense for where we are right now. It's just a collection of what happens from the expectation aspect of coming off of a Super Bowl win. Everyone is expecting things to stay high. And really, we really got things going when? In the playoffs. I mean, people were questioning early on when Jalen was coming back off of the concussion, we're not the same, and, is this offense going to be able to hold on? Well, remember, he's coming off his very first game off of the concussion was the first round of the playoffs. And so he got better as it went along, but during the regular season, our passing game wasn't as explosive as it should have been. And then we didn't utilize the play-action game like we should have been. And remember, I talked about it last year. We need to establish the middle of the field, and that being our tight ends and running backs in the passing game. We don't really run screens. When screens was a staple in our offense, when Andy was there, that's what Brian Westbrook, LaShawn McCoy, Deuce Staley. Because what that does now, that keeps the safeties and linebackers intact, that they still have to read run before they drop back in the passing zone. And right now, we're just going straight drop back where it seems like we're 5 to 7 steps in the gun, and things take time for routes to be able to establish at the yardage they're supposed to be, and our quarterback to be able to deliver it on time.
So from the run game perspective, is that the offensive line is just not getting the same push, or you mentioned Saquon. Is Saquon not performing at the same level, or is it a little bit of both?
Everybody's a part of the run game, that being the quarterback, the running back, and the offensive line. Now, we're running a lot of read option stuff where it's either a give or a pull. And so sometimes those hauled runs that everyone expects Saquon to get the ball, Jalen to pull it, or vice versa. But our offensive line hasn't been establishing the line of scrimmage like they were last year, and there's a lot of injuries up there. There's a lot of injuries in the offensive line. I mean, guys have been in and out of the lineup, so it's not the same offensive line that we had last year. So there's a lot of key factors that go into that. And then I think the only thing that we can really hang our hat on is the tush push. When you go to tush push in 4 straight plays or so, that's really showing that, we're going to do whatever we can to pick up as many yards as we can, because we haven't been able to do it in our base run.
And that was 4 tush pushes in a row for 4 yards. It wasn't like it went much further. Yeah.
That's what
Holy
I'm saying.
cow.
Like, I understand you try to be the bully of it all, but that ain't being a bully. That's just that's not having confidence in your call runs to be able to just line up and hand the ball off, or just throw your quick game.
So here's the thing I'm concerned with. I'm looking at both our lines, right? I don't know what the hell we can do defensively to improve.
Right.
If we can't get a new player in here. But offensively, this seems like this is going to be our 5 guys. And I'm wondering, is this good enough? Like, if they are truly banged up, and we know it's hard to get healthy during the season, now I'm wondering, is this what the running game is going to look like this year? And I don't know if we can survive if the running game is going to get 60 yards a game, like 60, 65 yards. That's going to be tough.
Well, it's going to be tough right now, but remember, I talked about, week 7, week 8, when we finally start to figure out who we are. And now I'm starting to really question that if it's going to be week 6 or 7. I'm looking more of like 9, 10, 11. Because at this particular point, to be honest,
that's a long. That's Thanksgiving now. Like, we still gonna be establishing ourselves by Thanksgiving.
Well, hold on. I'm getting an Amber Alert. Okay. Yeah, my bad.
Wow.
But it's not your fault.
Define Eagles offense?
Yeah, they're looking for the offense?
No, don't say that. We're going to be fine. We're going to be
It was
fine.
right there.
We're going to be fine. I just think, to be honest with you, we're where we are right now, trying to figure out this offense. It's about going back to the basics of where we need to be, and that being, establish the run game. 2, go to play action game. 3, utilize the screen game. And then we have to be consistent in our intermediate passing game. Everybody focused so much on the downfield throwing. It has to be more of a consistent intermediate and screen game with this offense, because when you have guys going in and out up front, you have to find a way to get some rhythm going. And the only way that this rhythm will happen with this offensive line being interchangeable at this particular point. And then also, too, I mean, we kind of getting bit pass rush upfield from our outside as well. And so we can look at it from the interior part, but they're getting pass rush outside as well. And so what do? You establish that screen game in the quick game to be able to hold them off a little bit.
So one thing that seemed pretty evident is that the Giants, specifically in the second half, it just seemed like they were beating us up. I mean, it seemed like they were competing at a different. Yes.
Up front.
And
Yeah.
it seemed like they were almost competing at a different level than we were. Is there a point at which the team becomes so frustrated with their inability to perform on either side that you just sort of let go. It's not something that we've seen from this Eagles team very often over the last year and a half, is them just like being outcompeted by another team. Well, yeah, quitting. And I don't want to say.
I won't use that term. I won't use that term because I don't think that they're quitting. I think what happens a lot of times is there's confusion, and when things aren't happening on a consistent basis like they were when things were going great last year and everybody looked like they were the number one at their position and everyone was riding that wave, they got to understand, it's what have you done for me lately? And now you have to be able to do that again. And so Becton's gone. Dickinson's been out. Lane has been banged up a little bit, and both tackles really have had some struggles, but yet still, it's the players coming together and figuring it out. Anytime that you hear, and I'm going to be honest, as a former player, I can kind of add to this. Anytime that you hear of a so-called players-only meeting, and then all of a sudden things get leaked out instantly, you know something ain't right. And whoever leaked out that they had the conversation in the parking lot or whatever it was, and it was the individuals or whatever it may be, and that get leaked out, that's a problem. And it's going to continue to be a problem in that locker room.
Forgetting about the specific machinations of why they're not playing well, I think one thing we all feel this year, and it's headlined by the AJ thing, something just doesn't feel right. Overall, something just doesn't feel right with the Eagles. And I think we're all, after the season we had last year, look, there's a reason why it's hard to win 2 Super Bowls in a row. It's hard to play all those games. And it's
hard to even get back to a Super Bowl. I don't care if you
win
it. It's hard to get back.
And
that's the thing that people don't realize is there was a little gap in between, and there was some turmoil in between.
There was.
Remember
yes.
And we started out, I think we started out, 10-1, and all of a sudden we lose the next 7, 6 out of 7 games or something. Something crazy and lose first round. And that's what happens because everybody starts feeling themselves a little bit. When you do win or you don't win, everybody starts feeling themselves and kind of getting new websites and doing media tours or whatever it may be. And it's just, the energy just isn't there. And all of a sudden it takes things like this now where it's not on rhythm, the teams just aren't playing together as a unit. Now, all of a sudden, people start looking around at everybody else instead of looking at themselves. And then, to be honest with you, it becomes where it's toxic in the locker room because if your name isn't a part of the problem, then you think you're in the clear. But when your name becomes involved in the problem, now you're looking like, it's not me, instead of trying to figure it out.
All right, Donovan. Well, thanks as always. I can't believe Ike didn't talk about how good you were right at the top.
I never really looked at him that way.
Look, man to man,
I telling me how good I'm looking. I'm good.
Look, I could tell when somebody's handsome, Donovan. I could tell. All right, man. We will talk to you next week at the same time.
All right, big dog.
All right, guys.
All right, Donovan. There he is, Donovan McNabb.